People have waited in line just to share this experience of Venom, Candyman, Night of the Living Dead, The Rock, Final Destination. But I want you to know you are now entering the
Cinema
Chop Shop with a top and the pop pop pop. Boom boom pop pop.
The Cinema Chop Shop.
What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop, so park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, the subscribe button. Also, if you check the link below, you'll see a Patreon account. If you click it, you can become a member. All you got to do is try to recommend movies and music and trailers for me to react to, so click that damn link. Now, with that being said, I'm here today to do a spoiler-free review for Them Season 2. I believe it's entitled The Scare. This season or the show is created by a man by the name of Little Marvin, and this show is starring Deborah I don't want to even say her last name and butcher it. Pam Grier is in this show, and then there's a young man by the name of Luke James. I want to highlight those three characters specifically because honestly they either still or not still the show. But anyway, this show is following a detective who is, I believe it's about 91, and it's set in Los Angeles, kind of similar to the first season. It's in Los Angeles. We're following this detective who's looking into this case. There's a bunch of like serial killings going on, and apparently there's another slasher in the area. It's called the South Side Slasher, right? Now, me personally, as I'm hearing this stuff go on, I'm thinking South Side Slasher. I believe that's a play on the Grim Sleeper. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's a play on the Grim Sleeper. But anyway, this also has the backdrop story of the Rodney King incident. So, and the young lady being a part of the Los Angeles Police Department. During that time frame, we see kind of the internal struggles within the organization. Not to mention her kind of figure out about her life and so on and so forth, right? So if you are familiar with Them Season 1, then you know that there was like a lot of supernatural elements, and this is kind of a horror TV series. Now, they call this a horror anthology series, and I'm going to get into that more into my spoiler review video that's going to come probably shortly after this video. But let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty. So, pros and cons. Let's start off with the pros, right? So, to me, the acting stands out in the show a lot. A lot of even the side characters do a really good job. They even have old boy from Space Jam in this damn movie, and most of the acting stands. There's only one actor or actress that doesn't really do a really great job, in my opinion. But everybody else brings their A game. The ones that stand out is Luke James and Deborah A. They stand out. They steal the show. Every scene that they're on, they're very captivating. And me personally, I thought they did a really good job. The cinematography in the show was really, really good. They have T.I. West. If you guys don't know who T.I. West is, he's somebody. He directed Pearl and Maxine, and also what's that first one? X. He directed 2 episodes in the last season. I believe he did 1 episode in this season. He did the last episode in this season. Now, the crazy part about it is, again, I think that the cinematography in the show was fantastic. You have different lighting elements that gave it a nice little pizzazz to it. You had a ceiling shot. Some of the shots kind of reminded me of Candyman, but I really feel like they did a good job at bringing all of these elements together to kind of create a haunting atmosphere. And not to mention the soundtrack. The soundtrack is haunting as well. They have like old songs being slowed down or looped, and I feel like some of the songs that they added to certain scenes, it didn't feel like it belonged, but like it just added this haunting effect. So it's something about things not going well together that just adds in this mystique to the TV show. The show has some practical effects. The practical effects that are present in the show, I feel like they were done really well. they looked good. I mean, they actually looked like the damn people that they were supposed to be. So kudos to them for doing that. It really feels like it came out of the 90s because it's supposed to be set in 91/88. So I feel like they did a really good job at kind of pulling it out. It feels like it came right out of the era. You have, like, you know, you watch movies and then sometimes they'll slip up and have something that's not supposed to be there. This doesn't do that. I feel like everything in this show is true to the era, and not only that, but even like it has this grainy kind of smoky look, which gives you like the feel of like an older film, kind of like how if you guys have seen Late Night with the Devil, they kind of did that in that movie. But anyway, all right, so this opinion right here might be a little bit mixed depending on who is watching this video, but I'll explain. I think that the writing in this series was a little bit better than the writing in season 1. And the only reason I say this is because I feel like this season flowed a little bit better. I feel like it was a little bit more fluid. It went from point A to point B a little more cleanly. I think in season 1, the time skipping and the jumping back and forth between different time frames, I feel like that kind of threw us off a little bit. And because I mean, technically in season 1, we went through like 3 different eras. So the fact that we went through three different eras in season 1 kind of threw us all over the place. And some stories were a little bit more captivating than others. In this season, it's a little bit more fluid. You stay with one storyline and one purpose, and you go all the way through. And I feel like it was done really well. What else? This show has an interesting twist. I mean, I didn't really expect a twist, but when it does pop up, I was like, okay, that was something unique. That was something different. I wasn't expecting it. There is one part where you're like, okay, well, so where are we going with this? But then it kind of makes sense towards the end. I like the twist. It was really good. We also have, honestly, the last episode was really good. I know that to me, the last episode of Them season 1, I felt it was a little lackluster. I even though I enjoyed it, I didn't feel like it kind of like closed the chapter very well. I feel like this one, on the other hand, I feel like this one did the opposite. I feel like it ended very strongly and it left me with high hopes for season 2, right? And I'm looking forward to season 2 based off of that ending. If you want me to go into more detail about that, you are going to have to tune in to the spoiler review. Anyway, so the cons, season 3, sorry. Thank you. So season 3, let's go into the cons. Some of the cons is, how do I do this without, there's a character in this show. I don't like the character's design. The character goes through a transition of several different designs during the show, and the final design that they choose to stick with, I don't like it. I think it looks stupid. There's like this little padding on him, and I just think it looked dumb. It was supposed to be terrifying. It was supposed to be scary, but it just looked dumb to me. I feel like they should have kind of went with the earlier incarnation, but that's a conversation for the spoiler review. I'll go into more details. There is, obviously, if you watch Them season 1, this show likes to highlight racism in the United States, more specifically LA. And this was a great time period to throw it into because guess what? This is around the time 1991. This is Rodney King riots. This is where a lot of a bunch of civil unrest was about to transpire because of the Rodney King verdict that hasn't happened yet in this show. But the fact that is that these cops are going to trial and there's a scope on the LAPD. Now, knowing that as a backdrop, it's cool, right? I think we get the idea, but there's just certain times in the show where you really feel like they toned up the racism just for you to be like, oh yeah, I forgot the LAPD's racist. But you don't necessarily need to do all that because, again, you know this, right? You have the Rodney King riots as a backdrop. You have some of the police officers being assholes. You don't need to overdo it and oversell the fact that these cops are racist, right? I feel like it takes away the authenticity of it. You get what I'm saying? Like, I really feel like I don't know. To me, it just kind of was like, it gives you like that eye rolling moment where you just feel like you didn't have to do all that. Like, we get the point already. I know the LAPD is racist. We've established that already. You don't need to keep telling me over and over again. That's just what it feels like. And I feel like it was poorly done in that element. I don't feel like this season did as good as a job as being as disturbing as season 1. I feel like season 1 really had that crazy shock value moment. This one obviously doesn't have something like that, but I really felt like season 1 was a little bit more creepy and it had a little bit more of that fearfulness like tied into it. Like this one was just a really good show all the way through. You just kind of sat through it, but you're not going to get scared. For something called The Scare, I can guarantee that you're not going to get scared at all. The actor or actress that I was talking about or referring to earlier, where I felt like they didn't bring their A game, was Pam Grier. I love Pam Grier. She's a great actress. I love Jackie Brown. She's done a whole lot of old school blaxploitation shit. But honestly, in this show, I felt like she was dialing it in. I didn't feel like she brought her A game. I felt like she was pretending like this was like some B type of movie or some B type of TV show. And I feel like she didn't take it serious. And it's a shame because, again, I like Pam Grier. I felt like she could have brought a little bit more to the show. But, I felt like her acting was a little bit lackluster. And then lastly, my last con is the CGI. There are some CGI elements in the show, especially towards the end of the season. That last episode has it, and it looks terrible. And it also does something happens that happens in every single horror movie, and I'm kind of getting tired of it because it's becoming very tropey. I don't like I don't like the little contortionist thing. I'll just go ahead and say it out loud. The contortionist thing is played out. I think it's pretty corny. I think we need to figure out something else because that shit is just played the fuck out. But other than that, like I said, I really feel like the season was highly enjoyable. It ends on a very strong note, and it gets you hyped for season 3. So, in my recommendation, if you've watched them season 1, I would highly recommend that you watch them season 2, specifically for the last episode, because it's really going to get you like, whoa, that's crazy. I'm going to get into something in more detail in the spoiler discussion. But until then, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys thought of this TV show. Did you guys think it was fun? Did you guys enjoy yourselves? I really did. I thought the writing was really good. I feel like you guys should definitely check it out. But what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section down below. And then don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I work very hard. You guys, make sure that you hit that button on the way out. Make sure that you guys hit the like button, share this video, and all that good stuff. You are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. Hope you guys are magnificent today. And adios, homies.
I want to play a game. Subscribe now. The choice is yours. You're now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop.